Hi, and welcome to the Wycliffe Library. I'm Miss Lori, and I'm here to talk to you about a couple books aimed at middle school age children. So 5th grade to 8th grade, and certainly beyond, if your parents are interested in reading them as well. Today, I have two books I'd like to talk to you about. First one is called Plunked by Michael Northrup, and the second is called Unplugged by Gordon Korman. Let's start with Unplugged. So this book is written by a very prolific author. Gordon Korman has easily 10 to 15 books here at the library. So if you're interested in this one and you like it, kind of find it funny, he's got plenty more where that came from. So I would like to know if you have ever met someone who thinks they know it all or have it all and are looking for attention all the time. That's what the main character in this book is. His name is Jet Baranov. He's the son of a billionaire founder of a tech company, and his mom flies all over the world trying to save people, so she's not home much. So Jet tries to get as much attention from the people around him as possible, and he's got all kinds of money at his disposal. I would like to read to you the very beginning of this book, where Jet has found himself in trouble again, and his father's not having any of it. This is the very beginning. Let's see here. The pilot makes an announcement to fasten our seatbelts and turn off all electronics. So what they are doing is they're flying on their private jet, and it is Jet himself and his keeper, or so he's called, a babysitter basically. So the pilot makes an announcement to fasten our seatbelts and turn off all electronics. As usual, I ignore both messages. Matt's exasperated. Matt is the babysitter. Your name may be Baranov, but your head can split open the same as anybody else's. So I sigh and fasten my seatbelt, but I pull a blanket over my lap so Matt won't see. When we're on the tarmac and they open the door to let us out, the blast of heat and humidity nearly knocks me back into the galley. What is this place? The Amazon jungle? Matt grins right in my face. Welcome to Arkansas. No. Seriously, I tell him. He's solemn. This is Little Rock, Arkansas. We've still got a 3-hour drive ahead of us here. To where? The moon? He reaches back and pulls me down the stairs to the tarmac. Listen, Jet, the sprinkler thing was bad enough. When the floors warped, your poor father had to get the replacement wood imported from special cedars in Lebanon. My science teacher says the cherry bomb has more than a gram of flash powder, I explain. Sue me for being curious. Matt's not done yet. Was it curiosity that made you drive that go-kart off Fisherman's Wharf? Lucky for you, I was able to kill that story before it went viral on Twitter. But when you pulled that little stunt with the drone, well, you can't blame me for that. I was just trying to get a few aerial shots of Emma Loudermilk's pool party. The problem was that sitting between my house and hers is San Francisco Airport. Fertilizer? Meet fan. That wasn't my fault, I defend myself. How was I supposed to know the Air Force was going to scramble fighter planes to shoot down one little drone? Or that the pieces were going to break into so many windshields in that parking lot? Don't act so surprised, Matt tells me firmly, steering me toward the terminal building. This isn't the first time your antics got you a little too much attention and you had to lie low for a while. Yeah, I agree. But lying low is a couple of weeks on the Riviera or maybe Bali, not Arizona. Arkansas, he corrects me. So who's going to know if the two of us get back on the plane, fuel up, and fly someplace decent? Remember that private surf island off Australia where everybody gets their own chef? He cuts me off. Forget it, Jet. Your dad's right on top of this. The place we're going has a waiting list. He had to pull a lot of strings to get us in this summer. Waiting list, huh? I like the sound of that. In Silicon Valley, if you don't have to pull strings to get into something, it probably isn't worth getting into. What is it, some sick new resort? And they put it in Arkansas to scare away the uncool people? He smiles. Something like that. Come on, the Range Rover's waiting for us. I'm encouraged, but something about his cake-eating grin makes me uneasy, especially when I see the car, which is splashed with mud and pockmarked in a dozen places. This isn't the kind of Range Rover from the rap songs. It's the kind you ship to Africa to drive over elephant poop. It's 10 times hotter inside the car than outside of it. The air conditioning isn't broken. It just doesn't exist. The driver is either named Buddy or wants us to consider him our buddy. I'm not sure which. He assures us we don't need air conditioning. A certain amount of sweating is good for you, he calls over the engine's roar. It's part of the program. Keeps your skin pores open. You're cooler in the long run. Program? I ask Matt suspiciously. He just shrugs. Unplugged. I think you will find this book very fun, very funny, and maybe a good way to turn somebody around who you thought was not so good. Again, that is by Gordon Korman. It's called Unplugged. The next book I'd like to talk about is called Plunked, Michael Northrop. Looking at the picture, you might get an idea of what might be going on. If you like baseball, if you play baseball, or softball for that matter, or really any kind of sport, you might know what it feels like to get plunked. I'd like to read to you right as the action begins, but it's maybe a third of the way into the book. So you learn a little bit about the characters and then what happens. I step to the plate like I always do. I go through my routine. I'm not sure how much time the ump will give me, so I've got to get it right. First, I sort of dig my front foot in. I twist the toes into the dirt at the front of the batter's box a few times. Then I settle my weight onto my back foot. The ump still hasn't said anything, so I begin my mini swings. Too fast and too slow. All right, the ump says behind me, but I'm already done. I cock my bat back and look up. I squint out at the mound. T-Bow goes into his windup and my eyes are laser focused. I need to pick up the ball as soon as it leaves his hand. His arm comes up and forward and the ball is out and headed toward the plate. But something is wrong. The pitch is high and bearing in. I should just take this one, get ahead in the count, ball one, but it just keeps bearing in on me. It's a fastball and suddenly I know. I'm going to get hit. I'm going to get hit in the head. All I have time to do is flinch. And then it's like an explosion, so much sound and power. It's like when a thunderstorm is right on top of you, when the lightning and the thunder come at the same time. I'm knocked off my feet at the same instant I hear the crack. I think it hit my helmet, right on the earpiece, but I don't know anything for sure. That crack could have been my skull. All I know is that I'm on the ground looking up. Their catcher's standing over me, looking down, and then the ump is too, and then more people. Everything looks twisted and fractured, and that's how I realize there are tears in my eyes. I honestly don't realize how bad it is until I see Coach. He says a lot of things, but the only words I hear are these. Pinch runner. So Plunked. There's a lot more of this story than just being hit by the ball. There's a lot more because does he want to play anymore is the question. So if you're interested in sports, if you've ever been in this situation, whether in baseball, softball, soccer, volleyball, you understand what it's like, and maybe you would understand how he feels when people ask, are you ready to get back into the game? Plunked by Michael Northrop. If you're interested in either one of these books, let your teacher know, or let me know at the library by giving me a phone call, and I will put it aside for you. I hope you have a happy new year, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.